8 months pregnant and shivering under a threadbare shawl, Sarah watched the man who had once been her world transform into a cold-hearted stranger. "Get out of my sight," Julian snapped, his voice echoing with a cruelty she had never known. "I don't need you, and I certainly don't need that burden you're carrying. You're nothing without my money." Sarah's voice cracked as the freezing wind bit into her skin. "Please, Julian, it's a blizzard. Where am I supposed to go in this condition?" He didn't blink. He simply grabbed her small suitcase and threw it onto the icy driveway. "Find someone else to play the victim for, because I am officially finished with you." Behind him, leaning against the door frame in Sarah's favorite silk robe, was Elena, the woman Julian had insisted was just his ambitious intern. Elena smirked, swirling a glass of vintage wine as she watched Sarah struggle. "She really needs to leave, babe," Elena whispered with a sharp sweetness. "It's quite uncomfortable having the ex around while I'm moving my things in." Sarah stared at her husband, searching for even a glimmer of the man who had once promised to protect her forever. But those eyes were now vacant of love, filled only with the arrogance of a man who viewed people as disposable assets. "Julian, this is your daughter I'm carrying," she whispered, her body trembling with both cold and shock. He stepped closer, his breath forming a gray mist in the midnight air. "That was your choice, not mine. You thought a pregnancy would trap me in this boring life. You thought wrong." The words felt like physical blows. Sarah felt her strength fading, but she refused to collapse in front of them. "You will regret the day you turned your back on us," she said, her voice small but certain. Julian's laugh was a jagged, ugly sound that made her heart ache. He slammed the heavy oak door, and the sound of the deadbolt clicking shut felt like the end of her life. Neighbors watched through their curtains, their faces pale behind the glass, but none dared to step out into the messiness of a domestic dispute. In this gated community, perfection was the only acceptable currency. Sarah gripped her suitcase and began to walk, her footsteps heavy in the deepening snow. Before we continue, if Sarah's journey of resilience touches you, please subscribe to our channel. It's a small click that helps us share these powerful stories with the world. Let us know where you are watching from in the comments below. Now, back to Sarah's darkest night. Her phone vibrated. A text from Julian. "Don't bother calling your sister. I told her you've been unstable and ran off with someone else. No one is coming for you." Sarah stopped under a flickering street lamp, feeling the world collapse around her. He hadn't just taken her home, he had stolen her reputation. She pressed her hand to her stomach, feeling a faint rhythmic kick. "I've got you," she whispered to the life inside her. "I promise, I've got you." The sound of a finely tuned engine broke the silence of the storm. A sleek, midnight blue Bentley slowed to a crawl beside her. The window slid down, revealing a man in his late 30s with sharp features but deeply compassionate eyes. "Ma'am, please, you shouldn't be out here," he called out, his voice filled with genuine alarm. "I'm fine," Sarah lied, though her lips were turning blue. The man didn't buy it. "You're pregnant and it's sub-zero. My name is Elias Thorne, and I cannot in good conscience leave you on this curb." Something in his tone, a lack of judgment and a presence of true concern, made Sarah's defenses crumble. Elias stepped out, holding a large umbrella to shield her from the snow. As he guided her into the plush, heated interior of the car. The warmth was so sudden it made her dizzy. "When did you last have a hot meal?" Elias asked as they drove away from the neighborhood that had discarded her. Sarah couldn't even remember. He drove her to a quiet 24-hour bistro on the edge of the city. He ordered for her hearty beef stew, warm bread, and endless tea, and sat quietly as she ate with a desperation she was embarrassed to show. "Why are you doing this?" she finally asked. Elias looked at his coffee, a shadow of old grief crossing his face. "Years ago I lost someone because I wasn't there to help when the world turned cold on her. I promised myself I'd never let that happen again if I could stop it." Sarah didn't need to hear the details. The pain in his voice told the whole story. Elias didn't just drop her at a shelter. He took her to the Haven, a private residence he funded for women in crisis. He spoke to the director, a stern but motherly woman named Martha, and handed her a check that made the woman's eyes widen. "Ensure she has the best room and anything she needs for the baby," Elias instructed. He turned to Sarah, offering a small, encouraging smile. "This is a new chapter, Sarah. Don't look back." Sarah watched his car disappear into the night, feeling a strange sense of destiny. Elias Thorne wasn't just a rich man. He was a man who used his billions to build bridges for those who had fallen. The Haven was a sanctuary of yellow light and the scent of fresh lavender. Sarah was given a quiet suite on the top floor. For the first time in months, the tension left her shoulders. She woke to the sound of birds and the realization that she was no longer a victim. A few days later, Elias returned. He didn't come with flowers, but with a folder. "I run a global advocacy group," he explained. "We need a lead coordinator, someone with the grit you showed that night. You have a degree in communications and years of management experience. The position comes with a permanent apartment and a future for your daughter." Sarah was stunned. "You're hiring me? You barely know me?" Elias smiled. "I know how you handled the worst night of your life. That tells me everything I need to know about your character." Sarah thrived. She moved into a beautiful riverside apartment provided by the foundation and became the heart of Elias's charitable empire. She worked with women who had been broken by the world, showing them that there was life after the storm. Elias was a constant, steady presence. He would bring toys for the baby, share quiet dinners with Sarah, and listen to her dreams. One afternoon, Sarah found a locket in the office archives. It held a photo of a young Elias with a radiant woman. "That was Chloe," Elias said softly, appearing behind her. "She was the reason I started all of this. We had nothing, and when she got sick, I couldn't afford the care she needed. By the time I made my first million, she was gone." Sarah took his hand. "She would be so proud of the man you are now, Elias." A month before her due date, the past came knocking. Julian called, his voice shaking. "Sarah, please. Elena took everything. She cleared the accounts and left. I'm facing a lawsuit and the house is in foreclosure. I need you. I need my wife." Sarah felt a surge of pity, but no love. "You didn't want a wife, Julian. You wanted a trophy you could throw away when it got dusty. I'm not that woman anymore." She hung up, feeling a weight lift off her soul. When Julian eventually showed up at the office, looking haggard and desperate, Elias stood between them like a wall of granite. "She gave you her answer," Elias said, his voice like ice. "If you step foot on this property again, I will use every resource I have to ensure you never work in the city again." Julian looked at Sarah, then at the powerful man standing beside her, and finally realized he had traded a diamond for a piece of glass. When Sarah went into labor, it was Elias who held her hand in the delivery room. When baby Maya was born, it was Elias who first held her, his eyes welling with tears he hadn't shed in a decade. "She's beautiful," he whispered. Over the next year, their bond deepened into a love built on respect and shared healing. At the Foundation's gala a year later, Sarah stood on stage in a shimmering gown, Maya sleeping in a carrier nearby. "I was once a woman standing in the snow, told I was worthless," she told the silent room, "but one man saw my value. Today we make sure every woman in the city knows she is worth saving." As the room erupted in applause, Elias met her eyes from the front row. They were no longer two people broken by the cold. They were the ones keeping the fire burning for everyone else. "Do you believe a man like Julian deserves a second chance to be in his child's life? And was Elias right to step in the way he did?" Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more tales of triumph and hope. From wherever you are watching, remember, the storm might be cold, but it doesn't last forever. Together, we keep the hope alive.